Hello and yes, hello. I have returned, and I apologize, or first of all, because my I think it's probably pretty well audible that my AC is running in the background, but I kind of can't do that any other way, because if I do not have it running, I will probably get a heat stroke and die. If I'm serious. Like yesterday I didn't have it on for like 2 hours and it got like 32 degrees in here. And that's a bit too much for my liking. Yeah, so there might be like random ass Oh, nameless, hello. So I'm not alone today, let's go. Avelina said she's gonna potentially join us too. Not in the game, but in the stream.
Bist du bereit für kristallklare Sicht? Bei Mr. Specs bekommst du jetzt bis zu 40% auf neue Gläser. Egal ob Einstärken, Gleitsicht, polarisierte...
Hey, I didn't even notice there was an advertisement, goddammit. I am doing pretty mid, to be honest. I've been reading books, or well, not actual books, but like how I forgot the word. Like the shortened versions, like with just the important stuff in it. I forgot the word for that. And there wasn't anything on the internet for one of the books for some reason, because it's like after 2000 book. Yes, a summary, thank you. There was no summary for one of the books. So I had to, you know, squeeze in a 160 pager in German into my brain today, which I did not like doing very much, to be fairly honest. ChatGPT literally didn't know anything either, and that was like extremely suspicious, and it will also make it extremely hard for me to do anything when well, tomorrow, when I have to do the theory and interpretation stuff. So I will basically be cooked, but that does not matter yet. Anyway, I need to buy a new plug for my headset, I think. Maybe I still have one. I need to repair this shit because it's getting annoying. Alright, so last time I should go sleep first, but we need spruce wood. Oh, that was actually in game. What are you doing up there? No. But tomorrow I have to do the rest. You know, the problem is I don't just have to read a book or two, I have to read 7 books and also have interpretations ready for 10 poems. Exactly. And I have only read 3 of the books of the 7 before, and one of them was 3 years ago, so I'm not very, yeah, you know, it's not very fresh in my mind. But the test is actually on Monday. And well, it counts like a quarter of my grade. Of my final grade, so it's not an important one, to be fair. But still, I want to be prepared as well as I can be. Yeah, for poems it's pretty easy. I once had to do an assignment with Bleeding Shrimp. Shout out to Bleeding Shrimp, my guy is a legend. He did that with me. I think we had the highest grade of the entire class, and we barely even did anything by ourselves. But that's just German teacher diff. I used to do that too, but obviously in the 1 year it actually matters, which is, well, obviously the last year when it all gets into the final diploma and stuff. I get like I have my average is an 80%, or well, it would be an 80%. It's a 5 out of 6. Grade 12. Is it 12? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, for most it's grade 13, and I did repeat a year, so it's technically also my 13th year in school, which is crazy. I want you to actually go to sleep. I'm just doing random shit. Yeah, ours is from 1 lowest to 6 highest. Very interesting. In the Ukraine it's apparently from 1 to 5. At least my mom said that. "11. Well, I did repeat, well, 10. Or what is grade 11 for most people. Or for, no, actually not for most, but for some. For most it's grade 10, for some it's grade 11. For me it was 10. It kind of comes down to what school you go to before you go here. I don't know if I should do a school reveal. Or indirect school reveal, technically, because if I do, like, ever do get my camera set up right on my helmets, then I might do motovlogs, as I had teased on the second channel. But I am not really sure. Why is the game so loud? Oh, maybe my headset is just too loud. Yes, in fact it was. I mean, I never was, but honestly, sounds believable. Am I on? I am not, so that's interesting. Well, who cares? There's background noise in the background already, so I can put my laptop into turbo as well. Can we talk about how this tree has never grown, I think, since we planted it? Is he? I mean, I would do that too if I... Wait, it's... Oh yeah, it's on. I completely forgot. That's why I saw so many shorts about it. Hehe. I almost watched practice. Or well, my mom was watching TV and I was just sitting on the couch, I think reading English books or interpretations for English books. And she scrolled through a practice or qualification thing. And I was like, neuron activation, and then we didn't watch it though. Because sadly I had to do stuff for school. Looking back, it would have been worth just watching that instead of doing school work, because well, if I knew, right, but it's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's true. The thing is, I had to read 3 books for English. English is probably the one subject I'll have the best grade in on the oral exams, because it's like easier than German, which is kind of sad, but it's the truth, pretty much. Because our German teacher thinks that we're just like, I don't know, gods in terms of interpretation of random bullshit that nobody cares about, probably not even the authors. And we have to know that shit. But hey, I guess that's normal. Our old German teacher, which is like the biggest loss I had when I repeated the year, was our old German teacher. She was way nicer in grading. Our English teacher, as much as we may hate her, is also very nice in grading. Or maybe I'm just too good at English, I don't know. Very nice view, isn't it? You know, I was wondering if this might look better in an upside down stair. Ooh. Doesn't even look all too bad. Maybe it makes it a bit less squished from the inside. Like, a bit. Yeah, the thing is, our teacher has a lot of mental health reasons, but for some reason she just doesn't stop. I don't know. Other teachers would have already quit their jobs 3 times. She literally had a No, wait. What did she have? I don't know what she actually did. She had an accident, I don't know if it was with her car or something else. Basically, I don't know what the English word for it is. When you take a hit when you take a hit to your head that is so hard that you basically have minor brain damage. or not damage, but it when your brain is like, I don't know if it's a concussion or I might be mixing things up. I don't know, I'm kind of cooked today. No, not memory loss. I mean, she didn't lose any memory. She didn't have a great memory in the first place, actually. Could be, could be. Anyway, she just, you know, returned to school the next day. Actually, the same day. I mean, she never skipped a lesson. She didn't even go to a doctor. She was just like, yeah, I don't have time for this shit. Which is kind of a Giga Chad move, but also she was really weird, like the last 3 weeks of school or whatever that was. We gave her a gift because most of the class found her a very nice teacher. I kind of think she's like pretty mid. Mainly because I have very bad German grades, so I'm a tiny bit biased. I didn't even craft any stairs, what am I doing? And well, she was a bit weird. They gave her the gift and she just said, I don't have time for this, and took the gift and then just like went back inside. Even though she definitely does have time, because she goes drinking a coffee every second break or something, which takes way longer than saying thank you for a gift, which she then did a week later via text, which is, well, pretty underwhelming, I gotta say. But hey, honestly, I couldn't care less. Now, here. How did I do this? I think I made upside down stairs, didn't I? I did. Oh, now how do we end this roof? That's crazy. I mean, if we did that for our German teacher, she would probably be angry because we, I don't know. Should have spent the time learning for our German exam or something, I don't know. Some random ass shit. Does this look better if I end it with stairs? Because then I could end it like this. And we could have like a clean transition between the different levels of the roof. And then just end that on the full block. Yeah, well, alright. That one's gone now. Nice, nice, nice. I know. She's going a bit crazy. Honestly, though, it's also teacher difference. I mean, not saying our math teacher is bad. I mean, I have had a math teacher that is actually bad. So I kind of know what I'm talking about, but still, like, it's pretty crazy how much a teacher can be different. Or maybe she just, you know, it's not even the teacher's fault. It's just some understand it better when a teacher teaches a certain way. And I've never really understood the teaching of our old math teacher, who always, like, basically he speedran that shit. And then when I asked questions, he basically just, well, said the things that I already knew, but didn't really answer my question at all. Our current, or well, well, we don't have maths anymore. I mean, we don't have school anymore. So that's that. But our current math teacher is like way slower. He's like the second slowest math teacher in the entire school. That is crazy, but why would that make a difference? Please tell me. We have pretty much only white teachers. How did I fucking build this roof even? That's kind of crazy. Do I have the stuff to make another? I might. Alright. What the skibbity did I build here? Upside down staircases on a one offset of the main roof. What the hell? No. Upside down staircase. Are we dead ass? I don't even have arrows. I'm gonna go sleep. Oh shit, I went to Lumpus' bed. Teehee. Ow. So, how did we do this? Upside down stair on this block. How do you do that? Ah. That's how I can do that, alright. Probably also have to remove the entire wall, because how the hell did I... The fuck? Okay, that's crazy. That is actually devious. Vaping in class is like a whole new level. I mean, honestly, no, it's not really. I know people that like they we have like other principles, or at least some of us. I don't really. I'm just like one of the good people in this school, like one of the good students, the rare good students that don't do random bullshit whenever they can, or are missing on every occasion. Like, that's crazy. That's actually devious, man. That's devious. But honestly though, I know of people that literally just max out their possible days you can like miss in a year. We have like a maximum of 150 lessons per semester that you can be absent, and if you hit that number, you're still good. But if you like cross that, then you're cooked, because effectively you aren't allowed to do that. Except, and that's where the bullshit in this school comes in, except if you have like an excuse from a doctor, then you may miss more lessons per semester. And then there's like people that just fake that shit and just never show up. Or people that have like, I don't know, some sort of ADHD or autism, and then that's like autism. To a certain point, you can just fake that shit. I mean, how would they know it's not real? And then they give you like all sorts of excuses to not go to sports and shit. I mean, we have some cases in Avelina's class, actually. There is a guy. That's crazy. Yeah, like, the thing is, after you're 18, they don't even have to do that anymore. At least over here, I don't know how it's over there, but I would figure it's similar. They don't have to contact anyone anymore because you're responsible for yourself. So if you're missing, you are the one that's cooked, and they don't even like tell your parents. Earlier, when you're not 18 yet, you actually have to use a parent's phone to like you need a parent's phone that basically like gives them the okay that you were missing and the reason for it as well. I'm doing some weird shit again. So yeah, that's kind of that. You have to confirm that you weren't there and the reason that you weren't there, why you weren't there. And after you're 18, it automatically just turns that off, and if you in the online thing say you weren't there, you just, that automatically is excused. You don't even have to necessarily give a detailed reason. You can just say you were sick and then that's that. And most teachers, or some teachers, don't even like enter that into the system that you weren't there, because they're either stupid, don't know you're in their class, or they just don't care. And I think that's like morally like really stupid. If there's students that show up every single time, and then when they're missing for like a week, they already have like, I don't know, 40 absent lessons, or like 35 absent lessons, and others that just are missing every single time don't get put into the system anymore because teachers are like, yeah, is she even coming to school anymore? I'm not putting that shit into the system every single time. And then they can just be like absent for like weeks on end, and that's crazy. Okay, that's actually, that I think that is pretty good. I mean, I was sick. The longest period I was sick for was like an entire week. When I don't know what I even had back then. I think that was shortly after the pandemic kind of thing. And I was literally missing for like an entire week. No, actually that was way before that even, I think. Yeah, that was probably before that. I crafted the wrong wood. Wait, that's also the wrong wood. I don't have any dark oak wood anymore. Nope, nope, nope. Ah, we have some more stairs. It's not enough though. Anyway, like it's literally pretty crazy. But hey, I mean, I couldn't care less. I think it's just wrong. One thing that I think is really wrong is that they're giving students who are worse because they have some sort of learning disorder or something, which I don't even get how people like that get into this school. It's an elite school is what they tell us. So like, how do people with learning disorders or like autism and stuff get into this school? That's one thing. And then if they're in it, I did something very wrong. What the fuck? And then they just give them. They just make their life easier by giving them more time on tests. And I think that is extremely wrong. Because when they're in, like, in the future, when they're working, they don't get more time to do the same job. They will just not get hired. And that's what I don't really get. Like, how does that work? How does that make sense? Wait, how are you gambling in the back of class? That is actually the thing I'm most interested about. I mean, we had people not sneak into, but like, there's a guy that dropped out of class. He could have repeated the year like I did. He didn't though. He dropped out after I repeated, so he dropped out in the same year that I dropped out, but in my new class. So, I mean, same situation. He just didn't choose to repeat the year, so he just left. And funny thing is, he sometimes returned back to class, like he did that like 2 or 3 times. And some teachers just literally didn't notice. Okay, about the high class school, I think that's how it should be too. Or, I mean, if you let them get into the school, just give them the same like treatment as everyone else. If they can do it, if they get through the school, good for them. But don't give them like unfair advantages just because they have like a minor psychological thing that you don't even notice if they don't tell you that. One girl in our class has like a minor ADHD. Like, she gets what, like a third more or a quarter more time on every test. And some tests are literally just, the time is the only limiting factor there. And they just get like 15 minutes longer on like a 45-minute test, which is devious. Yeah, that's pretty cool actually. I think we could pull that on some teachers as well. I mean, our physics teacher is kind of oblivious to what we're doing sometimes. Or, well, used to. We don't have physics anymore. So, I was sitting with another guy in the front row. He was just sometimes actually sleeping. Literally. Or not sleeping entirely, but like, just eyes closed, head on the table type of thing. That's crazy. But why wouldn't they let gay people into a school? I mean, I don't understand that. Also, how did they even like? How did they like ask you if you're gay before like signing up for the school? That's like a really weird thing to ask. Does Lampus still have stuff? No, not Lampus. The moss still have stuff up here in a chest. Actually, no, I went the wrong way. Ah, yes. Thank God. Alright, how do I get up there? There we go. That's crazy. That's actually devious. I mean, to be fair though, we have like, our school has like, I don't know, 2,000 students or something in total of all the different types of, you know, ways you can choose and like years they're in. And there is only one gay person that I know of. That is actually 100% definitely a gay person. Some others, I have literally no idea. But I didn't see them enough, like, and that one gay guy, I don't even know him by name. I just know him because I see him that much. He kind of sticks out, not because of like he just sticks out. He's like I don't know, about as tall as me and like pretty damn wide. Oh, good one, good one. It's not me. I'm not that wide. As you can see, my arms are pretty damn thin, like matchstick thin type of shit. Alright, what did we do here? We did copy that and then have that copy this. Alright. I have to get up on this side to go to the other side, which is kind of devious. Here we should have actually done those. No. No. That wasn't done on the other side. We had this here and then a block here. Then a stair here. Precisely. Oh, god damn it, I'm just gonna use water. Ho ho. I'm just literally, what am I doing? Why am I building so badly? And I ran out of stairs again. Okay, that's pretty sick, honestly. Our school would never. I mean, actually, no, I'm lying. We do have a racing sim in, well, for one day of the year. Every year. One day. That's pretty cool. We do have a racing sim pretty close, like 10 minutes. No, for like 5 minutes if you go by car from the school. Maybe a bit more. About 5 minutes though. But our informatics teacher, like IT stuff, IT. Basically, we just did programming and web design there. Teacher, he wanted to take us there on our last lessons, because we don't ever have school with him again, and he was like the most go-to teacher we've ever had in those 4 years, I think, and we only had him for like 1 year, which is kind of sad. And he wanted to go there, he reserved, and then he noticed that this year, the first time in like, I don't know, 2 decades or so, everything was offset by 1 week in the calendar because a specific holiday was moved 1 week back due to the definition of that holiday, so they had to move all the final exams back, which doesn't make any sense to me still. We just have less time to learn for the final exams because the final exams were moved 2 weeks, so they moved the school end 1 week, so we have just like 1 week less in between to learn for the exams, which is kind of actual literal bullshit. I still don't see the reason why they moved the exams that much. They could have just done them a week later. Anyway, he noticed that and he wanted to change his reservation, and they were just like, nah, we already have somebody there. And then we never went there with him, and we just ate shit on the school. There's just a park basically in the school, which is kind of cool, but in comparison very mid. And I was never there since I have my motorcycle, I think. I went there once with Lampus and a friend of his, and it was pretty sick, I have to say. I mean, I think I placed either last or second. I mean, Lampus' friend is literally goated. He mogged us in karting, and I think it's the first time he went karting ever, or at least on that track. He mogged us. He's a literal goat. He I think all he does is watch racing, like Formula 1, and I don't know if he watches other stuff too, but I think that's like all he does. I'm not meaning this in a bad way. That's pretty sick, honestly. And he probably learned the way they drive so well that he just translated that into the karts, and he mogged us all. To be fair, it was raining, so he probably took wet lines and shit. Now would they though? Actually, I don't know if I've already said this, but one of the interns at the karting at the kart track that we usually go to, the one that we went to on the one Binsley's video, that we also went to like last week, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure anymore. That track, that guy there, he told us what wood do I make this from? Sorry. He told us that you should counter lean, basically, so that you lean against the curve in most curves, so there is more grip on the outside wheels. And I never did that because I don't know, that wasn't really intuitive to me that would make any sense. Then I tried that on the race because there was no, we already had done practice and qualifying, and I scored slightly behind Lampus in qualifying, but I was like way faster in practice. I was faster in practice than I was in qualifying, which is kind of devious, honestly. There were just too many randoms on the track as well. So then I did that. I leaned to the opposite side that I would normally, and I was stuck behind Lampus, sadly. I think I would have pulled away potentially, because he didn't lean at all, and I leaned pretty aggressively, and I actually was faster than my personal best, I think, or very close to my personal best. I had to slow down a bit to not crash into Lampus, obviously. I don't literally know. You know, we were like, oh yeah, sure, we're just, like, they told us we were gonna be with like 2 to 3 other people. We were 10, I remind you, we were 10. There were a total of like 25 people on track. And that's not 2 or 3 randoms, that's like, I don't know, 15 or something. But the math doesn't really math there, I think. To be fair, the only other time we ever did an actual booked GP was when it was raining, so nobody was there, obviously. But that they let other people on track in qualifying is kind of devious, because they were blocking the ways. You could not do a single lap without like getting in the way of somebody, or somebody getting in the way of you. And they obviously didn't know we were in a qualifying. That was way more important than their Saturday or Sunday afternoon race that they just did for fun. No, this was life or death situation in qualifying there, and we were having to get out of the way of randoms. And there was this one kid that was driving so defensively but also very aggressively. He was like, I don't know, 12. And he did not let anyone pass. It's devious. I was stuck behind him for like 2 or 3 laps before I finally passed him. And he drove pretty crazy. I mean, to be fair, he was like probably like half as heavy as I was. But still. Yeah, honestly. And then the funniest thing is, he was the fastest from that session. A 12-year-old dude was faster than me and Lampus. And Lampus scored second and I scored third. And that little dude was first. I still can't really believe how that was possible. But I don't know, maybe he was hacking, maybe he had a better gaming chair. Or maybe he had a card that wasn't, like, I don't know, randomly doing bullshit. Some cards, when you step on the brake, cut all engine power, which is kind of mid, because if you're braking and then step on the gas immediately, they sometimes don't really react that fast. Some just don't have any acceleration for some reason. Others do. Some have a higher top speed, seemingly. No, you honestly though, if you've been there, others can confirm on our wet race last GP that we did. It very heavily came down to the kart. The guy that qualified first only scored like third in race because his kart was slower off the line and he got passed at the start. It's pretty crazy. You can see at the start, you can very much see which karts are superior. I mean, our reaction times are really similar. So when we all step on the gas and there's like somebody pulling through, no, they are gas powered. They have Honda lawnmower engines. They do also have electric karts that were out of service last time, but they don't do electric GPs because there's only like 4 or 5 electric karts, so that's not enough to do to make like feel like a full grid. And that would be an unfair advantage, because with an electric kart you are about 2 seconds faster. Which is pretty devious. I mean, I've been to this track at least 20 times. And I have like hit a point where I can't get any faster because of the kart's limitation. But when I drove an electric kart once and I was like a solid 1.5 seconds faster or so. Lampos was too. We both got an electric cart last time we went, and that was pretty crazy. And yeah, they are literally Honda lawnmower engines. They're like 1-cylinder. Actually, I think they're 4-stroke engines. Yeah, that would make sense. Lawnmowers are 4-stroke engines. Basically pretty much what I have in my motorcycle, except it's a bit more tame and probably a lot smaller. They go about like barely 60. Which was confirmed by GoPro GPS and Technology's Apple Watch. How do you rev a cart? How the fuck do you do that? Don't like every cart I've ever seen that has an engine has like a centrifugal clutch that engages when you give it too much gas. How the fuck did you rev that? What am I even doing here? I should have gone to sleep. That's what I was here for. Now I'm not sure what to do the top layer of the house from, because it's all made from wood, and that looks weird if we add another wood sword to it. Gotta kind of look from up here. Let's see. There, maybe we're gonna go down a bit. It's really like wood. Maybe I should make this from bricks. Actually, let's replace the oak wood with bricks. Like regular bricks. So we gotta get some, that should suffice. We're gonna get some clay, and then there's definitely 100% clay over here, right? Yes. This is a very nice shovel, I have to say. How much clay does one need for that? Probably quite a bit. Proper carts, so like... What do you mean by that? What does blood mean by that? Ah. Yeah. But you didn't have like a clutch pedal or like a lever or something. You didn't have to manually pull a clutch, right? Yeah, alright. I mean, it's just really bad for the clutch. True though. I remember Lampos doing that on the wet race when he spun out in the last corner actually of the track. I don't know how many corners there are, but the last one. Or well, no, technically not the last one, but the one before you return to the exit of the boxes. When he spun out and was kind of stuck in the grass, and then he just literally just gave it all it had, which wasn't a lot, so it just started revving. I don't know if it was I don't know if it actually was because of if the clutch was slipping or if it was the wheels. Why did I make 8 furnaces? Am I dumb? Or if it was like the wheels spinning on the grass. But honestly, like on a dirt track actually sounds mad fun, to be honest. Man, I hate crafting brick blocks. It's just so annoying. I also don't even know if it looks good. We gotta try that out after I have a bit more than 2 brick blocks. Or 3. Alright, that should be enough. 5 blocks, we're gonna try that out. Oh, that would be even more fun. A guy from my class went to Egypt, I think. And then they had dirt buggies there, and they just, or like desert buggies, and went through the desert with buggies. They had like a guide that drove ahead, and he was able to drive one. And he was like 16 or something back then, maybe 17. He definitely did not have a license. He doesn't even have a license yet. And he is closing in on... No, he's 19, I think. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was kind of like, I was kind of envious of that. I mean, I do drive cars now, but it's not fun driving a Fiat 500 that has a misfiring cylinder if it only has 2 of them. So if one of them is misfiring, you're basically missing half of the engine. Like, there is not a we don't have a single car that has no issues, no major issues, which is kind of crazy. Do we even have enough coal in here? I kind of don't think so. Oh, there's some more coal ore. I do have coal in the other furnaces over in the base, but I don't know if I want to get that. Wonderful. That's kind of cool, honestly. Over here would probably go bankrupt trying to do that. There aren't really any racetracks that I know of anyways that would fit a car comfortably. The track that we usually go karting on, I mean, you've seen it, is relatively narrow if you compare it to like a real track. It's like kind of like Monaco type shit. Oh, the banger is on. Sad that Lampus hasn't streamed in so long, because like this is his outro kind of thing. It's a real banger and it's copyright free. If I had only found this song before him, I could have used it as my outro. Muhaha. But I'm stuck on using I don't even know how the song is called. But I know it's copyrighted and there's not a single copyright-free remix on the entirety of YouTube. If I came to South Africa, I do not really plan on like racing. I mean, I'd love to be a professional racist. No, just kidding. I already am. No, just kidding as well. Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I would love to do racing in any way with like real cars. The thing is, I do like want to get a career that is a bit more safe in the ways of finding a job. I mean, racing is cool and all, but if I'm not good enough or don't have the money, I'm just like cooked. Also, I do not necessarily plan on going to South Africa. I'm comfortable enough over here, to be honest. I'm not even sure if I even want to like go anywhere as outside of Europe for living for longer periods of time, to be honest. Do we make the entrance of this house on this side actually? That's what I was wondering, because it could make sense to have like two entrances to this one. Like a main and a not so main entrance. You know, have like little entrance and a big entrance, but the big entrance would kind of also be a little entrance. Because this house isn't that big, it's not that big. But this has the best view. Ooh, like how much broken? Because I mean that does sound kind of like pretty expensive, to be fair. Does this house deserve a dual door entrance? I don't really think it does. But it could use an offset entrance, so we can have like... I did not mean to break that. I did not mean to break that. There, yes. Nobody saw that I broke the grass. Ooh. Ooh. Now, well, that does sound kind of expensive. I mean, not that I have figured otherwise, but damn, 5 million is It's quite a bit, to be honest. I mean, damn. I mean, you'd imagine that over here you see like a lot of expensive cars, and yes, true, but like honestly, they just, I mean, they just don't do anything with them. Like you can book weekends on the car track that we usually go to drive like Lambos, which costs like, I don't know, 180 or 220 bucks, something around there, I think, for like I think half an hour of driving with like a Lambo or a Ferrari, like a 458 or Aventador type of thing on that track, which is a very small track. I mean, that one curve you can barely take faster than like walking speed with a real car. Kind of devious shit. That's crazy. That's honestly crazy. Honestly, like, I mean, I've had ideas, and I mean, honestly, right now, like, obviously I don't have like spare money to get a dedicated race car, which also doesn't make sense over here because, as I said, there's no racetracks. But to be fair, if I ever have the money to do so, and if they still allow tourist drives on the Nürburgring or something a bit more close, which I don't know if there's anything more close than that is actually a usable track, I could very much imagine getting myself like a dedicated race car. Lost in Cape Town. Ah, yes. Is there a reason they're all over there, like over in Africa? I mean, I don't exactly know about the car that well. But how would you do that? Would you take the car with you? Because that would be devious, crazy dedication. To 300 million. Damn. Kind of fucked up if you think what the average probably standard in Africa is. Like the standard of living for like locals there. I mean, yeah, sure, but is it worth it? I mean, honestly, your way around makes more sense. If I were to come to Africa, there is no way I'd take a car over there that I wasn't already planning on like taking to a junkyard. To be very fair, I've heard not the best stuff from first hand of people that like were there, or that my dad told us from like relatives of us. Honestly, Pagani in Africa is kind of like crazy to me. I do honestly though. I mean, if I look on like the main used car sales websites over here, that's yeah, logically, yeah, that kind of does come down to that. I mean, there's probably stuff happening over here as well. Actually, there's more and more stuff happening over here as well. That is not very nice. Mainly, I think it's not even necessarily many. I mean, I'm. Well, this is kind of Twitch. Twitch might not like me talking about this, which is because it's kind of political. But honestly, I'm. I have the opinion that they should just monitor our borders more closely, or just like don't let everyone in. Just like control everybody that goes through here, because I don't know if that is true, but I've heard. So if I'm talking bullshit, please do not yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. But I've seen statistics that, or heard of statistics that say that there is a lot of like tourists in a way that spawn, like that just go over it. Oh my god, I finished that up perfectly. That just spawn, go over our borders, right? Then they spawn in here and they're like, fuck yeah, let's rob or steal shit, you know. Then you see like people getting their wheels stolen, or you know, stuff like that, or the ominous moves with the Porsche cars that just don't have any lights in them anymore, stuff like that. And then they just despawn back again to like, I don't know, neighbor countries of our neighbor countries, like I don't know, Romanians and shit are especially like memed about, at least. I don't know how true that is, but I mean it's definitely like something is happening, right? And I'm not saying that all of them are bad, which is like a common misconception. That like that or not a misconception, but many people have like this image that all people from, or not many, but some people have that kind of that mindset that everyone from there is bad automatically. But I don't think they are. It's just that the people who do cross the border and then return after 3 days or something, they are technically, like speaking, probably the ones that do steal stuff, rob stuff, all that stuff. And then how they regulate the shit with like crime, they don't ship the people back to where they came from. They keep them here because they're not like citizens of a country, like they don't have a passport or something, so they can't officially send them back because the countries don't take them. And Switzerland's like, yeah, alright, we'll just keep them until you figure that out, which is like never, so they just stay here. There are a lot of examples from people from Africa that are sometimes, I think illegally, a lot of them, going to Switzerland, and then they stay here, they do criminal activities, and then they get like they get imprisoned, or would usually get thrown out of the country totally, actually. but they can't get thrown out because they do not, because Africa doesn't take them back because they're not, like, I don't know, it's weird. Honestly, I'm not defending the racism, but I can see where it's coming from. To be very, very honest, I can see where it's coming from. Also, though, I have to say I've never really, I mean, it's kind of the people you surround yourself with, I guess, but I've never really heard of people like directly noticed people being racist to anybody and actually mean it. I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of close friends I have drop the N-word on a daily basis, but they don't mean it in a harmful way. That I'm not beating the racist allegations, am I? That is very interesting. Here, this is, well, obviously that's not necessarily regulated. That's basically regulating itself. The people go where they can afford to be. Because, I mean, our standard of living is, like, relatively expensive, I'd say, in comparison to other countries. Which is, yeah. But it's also where people get the most money for doing literally fucking nothing. Our system is so cooked. It's literally cooked. You can get here and you don't get a job because, well, I don't know, employers are racist. I'm not saying they are, but possible, you know, possible scenario. You come here, employers are racist, you don't get a job. You get the social shit that you just get money because you're unemployed, so they give you money because you have an insurance. They give you money if you promise them you're searching for jobs and taking job applications. So you're doing that, but because the employers are racist, you're not getting jobs, so you're just getting money from the state, which, well, all the other people that do have jobs have to relatively directly pay. It's kind of crazy how cooked the system is. I mean, in some ways some people definitely deserve to get their money if they're just like thrown out of their job for no reason, or for a weird reason can't get a new job because they're like old or whatever. Then they're cooked. Alright, that is... I mean, honestly, that's a very good, like, counter. You can just literally flex on them, and then what are they gonna do? It's like, the racism is not even like a factual argument. If you counter that, then you've basically won. Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. I mean, I know from people that like our English kind of, he was like an exchange teacher that came to different countries or schools in Switzerland at that time. He was there, here, and he said like people that definitely spoke English just told him that they couldn't speak English because he doesn't understand a single word of German, really. And when he was trying to talk with some people, they just, even though they do understand English, just purposely didn't talk English to him. As funny as it may sound, I think that is also a way of racism, isn't that? Kind of like, isn't that also like a type of racism? If they know a language but they don't want to speak the language because the person doesn't speak their native language. Kind of cooked, honestly. Our country is kind of cooked. We have reason to be cooked, but it's kind of cooked, honestly. Honestly, yeah. He said mostly older people, which I can understand. Some might not actually speak English. Or maybe they're not comfortable speaking English, but he said he like, they understood him very clearly, but they then didn't want to explain shit in English and just kept on talking German. Kinda cooked, honestly. It could still be that they really didn't speak English and just understood it, but I don't know. Honestly though, I find it kind of funny how, I guess mostly in America, they just learn English and then they're cooked whenever they have to go anywhere else and a person doesn't speak English. Oh. Meanwhile, some over here learn like 4 languages. I am only doing 3 because some actually you can learn up to 5 languages. Valid reason to not be angry about people. Honestly, I still would be, but honestly, it's, I guess you kind of forget if you do have the money, you know. And yes, I kind of do. Not precise definition, but I kind of do know. What time do we have? Oh damn. I didn't even get to finish that one house. Devious. Because I'm not sure what to do about the upper story. Could actually use the oak planks that I didn't use. I could, but I'm not sure if I should. Or not. Let's see. Yeah, I think we gotta do the wood. Oh shit. That was not how I was trying to land this. The floor, I have no idea yet, so I don't know, honestly. Alright. We have the floor. Gonna do some advanced terraforming here. Wait, look at this shit. There we go. This also doesn't actually make much sense, to be fair. I'm gonna do some gravel. Not much more stable anyways, but does it make sense to not have a window on this side? I think if we might lose this door and just make a large ass window in here. Don't know. Gonna see about that. But we do definitely need to have like wood in here. For that we need to remove all the stairs in here. Just fill that up. We can definitely leave some like windows in here. Even though like a narrow ass window like this probably doesn't look very nice. And a small one like this probably looks weird as hell as well from the outside. Not even actually, that would work very nicely. Right, that looks kind of fucked up. Actually, no, it looks like a decent transition. Whoa, damn, that message is long. No apologies. I can I can like I can very luckily scroll in my chat window in OBS, and well, I also have the paragraph on my phone. Pretty crazy, honestly. Pretty crazy. I mean, I don't think I need to go into the financial situation of my family, to be honest, too much. It wasn't really that. Doesn't really have too crazy of a backstory. I mean, kinda, but don't want to reveal too much. That's something for the Poetic Swam X Lampus podcast or something. Which will probably never happen. Wouldn't be too sad about that, to be honest, though. I mean, it would be cool to do, but I honestly wouldn't know what to talk about. Lampus probably would. Alright, we're gonna do the same small ass window in here as well. Doesn't look all too bad. For the floor, no idea. We could use oak. Or we could use dark oak. What did I use here? I used dark oak, I think. Doesn't look all too bad, but still. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. We do have glass. I can use that. We do have 2 doors, which are also, funnily enough, the right ones. I do need to have a floor though. Potentially. I mean, honestly, it kind of comes down. You probably wouldn't really well, yeah, some are, definitely. I mean, to be fair though, the really rich people leave Switzerland because taxes are too high. Or the really, really rich people, they probably might just not care. But I would guess that, I mean, I don't guess, I mean, it is confirmed that a lot of rich people do actually just leave the country. Actually, would a fence... No, that doesn't really make sense, does it? I mean, honestly, I mean, I guess I can tell that, can tell you all that. I mean, you're probably the only one here anyways that is ever gonna listen to this. I do plan on pursuing a career that is one of the highest paying, like, regular jobs in Switzerland as well. That isn't like a doctor or some shit, because I have, how would I say this? I gotta quickly invent. I've crumbled my last cookie with biology and all that shit, to be very honest. Yep, very valid. To be honest, the Fiat we have is technically my dad's business vehicle, or at least was. I'm not sure if he switched that to my mom's name or not. I kind of have no idea. And I mean, so does... I have a friend that has a lot of money. I have no idea how much. I just know that his father is an architect, and I mean, they do have money. the funny thing is, he also does like similar things with his cars. Funny thing is though, that he like the guy that goes to class with me, doesn't really get why his dad is buying cars and not leasing them, because he's selling them. He's usually selling them in like a few years, like 3 years or so, and then that's like when the leasing would run out and shit. Or why he's leasing them and not buying them, I don't know, in one way or the other. What job? I am not entirely sure yet, but either I plan on either going robotics or like I don't know what it would be, in English, to be honest. Like the exact translation. Wait, would an outside door look better on this? It makes the walls very flat. Probably not really nice. Yeah, that probably does look nicer. I don't know what it would be exactly called again. Something basically building like machines similar to robotics, so just not building robots, you're building like, I don't know, a cigarette packaging machine or some shit. Well, it is a type of engineering, kind of. It's something, I mean, it's like my dad's done something similar, just he did the software aspect of that. Well, it's not all he does with his job, but it's like one thing he did for a long time, just programming machines. And I kind of, you know, I do like that, building robots and machines and shit. I mean, my like the paper I wrote as like my I don't know, I'm missing words on shit that has to do with school in English, kind of like the paper we have to write like a scientific type of shit. That then counts as one of the like 13 grades of our regular like subjects, and it's just another grade that is counted separate. I built a 3D printer that I do plan on making a video on my second channel for. I do plan on making that video since like I think I started building that thing in 21. So I could have started doing that, the first video, in like end of 21, like September 21 or something. But I didn't, and I kept pushing that out and did other videos on the second channel, though I have to say not many, because I did just you know, edit stuff for the main channel whenever I could have edited shit for the second channel. So yeah, that kind of got lost, and the last time I've worked on it was like a year ago, and now the paper has been finished since half a year, longer than half a year. And I still haven't done the video, and I still haven't sent that one guy that wanted me to send that thing to him, the actual final document. I kind of keep forgetting. It's not the 3D printer I sent you though, that's another 3D printer I just built for fun. I mean, I did build the other one for fun, but I was like, why search for a project when I literally have a project that is like higher than 90% at least of what other people do for their final things. Like, why would I search for a new project if I can literally just work on that if I wanted to do that anyway in my free time? So I kind of got that out of the way, otherwise I would probably still be working on it to this date, because then I had a reason to work on it. And I wasn't just like doing that on weekends. or afternoons after class. And that gave me like a whole lot of progress because I was using pretty much the entire summer holidays during the day and sometimes evenings for that. And the day before I went printing the document, I even had, like the night before, I was printing a piece, or 2 nights before, I was printing a piece that went on a cover image and was like my main point of comparison that I then wrote. Like the last thing about that basically stated how fucking good this thing actually is that I built for how shitty it is, how good the quality is able to be in theory. Like the best it could have been, I pretty much reached that with the limitations of what I built and the parts I used, which is pretty fucking good. I mean, it went about as well as it could have gone. And my teacher was like the biggest Sigma as well. He just literally talked with me for like 5 minutes. He was like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay." And I went back home and continued working on that shit. So yeah, that thing's just standing. Since I finished, the paper has not been ran a single time. So since that cover image final comparison piece was printed, I've never even turned it on. It actually doesn't run anymore. Yeah, the funniest thing is you cannot find a single person on YouTube that has done it before, like that type of 3D printer. At least when I built mine, it was the first one that was functional. There were a lot of people theorizing about it, or like doing material lists or like mock-ups that would technically have worked or not. In some cases that was very obvious that it could never work, even to my eye, looking back now. And in some cases it would have very well worked because they were using a lot of similar things as I did, some actually much better than mine, but I didn't have the resources yet. So now the printer that I'm building is capable of comparing to some of the fastest printers in similar classes of 3D printers that I have built mine in. And at that, my printer is also like extremely compact for how big it can print. It's like really small. I mean it was like literal shit to set it up the first time. But then when I got it running, you know, oh shit. When I got it running, it was amazing. What I can technically get out of this thing is pretty crazy. The funniest thing is I was misremembering the one printer that I was constantly comparing mine to because it was like the best 3D printed 3D printer. And I misremembered the numbers and accidentally made my printer fucking faster. Like double the speed of that one that I was comparing to because I misremembered numbers. I mean, it wasn't printing nicely, but it was printing absolutely fucking insanely fast. Still, total print times are slower than this guy's printer, so I'm kind of been mocked in that way. Headshot. Lol. I literally don't know. You know, there's I mean, I have to clarify, there is a difference between, you know, you basically move a nozzle that deposits the plastic on the build plate, and you can pretty much, there's two main variables that define the speed of it, which is acceleration and, well, the top speed. And my acceleration was just low as hell, and this guy accelerates at about 10 Gs. His printer accelerates at peak about 10 G. Mine pushes used to only be pushing like 1 to 1.5 reliably, and I was always like, why the hell is it not working? And then at some point, like literally 2 days ago or so, I noticed that because my speed was so high, when it accelerated this fast at such high speeds, it was not able to keep up with physics anymore. Like, it was physically impossible to do that shit because of the parts I was using, which by the way are the exact same parts he was using as well. At least the motors are. So my printer technically ran 2.5 times faster at peak speed than his did. But it was accelerating like about 7 times slower. And now that I've capped the speed at a speed that is slightly higher than his still, I did manage to get the acceleration up to their first try pretty much. So yeah, I accidentally built a printer that is potentially, when it's well set up, able to print faster than this guy's printer. Which is pretty fucking amazing, I gotta say. Just that it took me... why is there a grass block in here? Just that it took me, like, I don't know, half a year to figure that out is pretty crazy. Or like, not a half a year, 4 months. Approximately. Still pretty long time. I should have like looked at those numbers again, because me misremembering that actually cooked all my calculations and settings completely. Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. Still, I can't manage to print as fast as he does, which is probably some deeper settings that I'm not yet, well, that haven't yet been set very well. Also, I have to rebuild a lot of stuff because I've noticed how shit some of my design is, and that my material choices were at some points relatively questionable. Or well, that my settings that I printed the printed parts in were really questionable. I mean, I used settings that you'd normally use on like low strength, high quality parts, and I printed them mixed with other settings that are lowering the quality. So I basically printed a high quality, low stability piece at a speed that made the quality drop. So it was basically the worst of both worlds. It had no good looking, like it wasn't looking good, but it was also not stable. So my printer basically, if you look at it in a like more closely, it looks like actual shit, and it also isn't stable. But I am going to be reprinting the printer itself on itself, but I don't really have a lot of time to redesign stuff because I'm, you know, working for school and editing videos. So I'm probably not gonna get this thing to a working finished state until after military, when I have like 3, 4, 5 months of prolonged summer break, let's say. Oh, good evening. I was actually probably going to end the stream soon because I only intend to add a floor to this house, and I'm still not sure what wood to use. Oh, she knows, she knows. It's very easily audible through the ceiling when I'm printing stuff. Mostly at the speeds that other guy printed, that I'm trying to achieve as well. Actually, wait a second. Maybe we could use jungle wood because it has a similar color tone to bricks. It's like reddish, so it's not like as hella red as the nether woods and the new newer wood types. But it actually does have a relatively similar color that could go very nicely with this. And that it does actually. That does look pretty cool. No, not through the walls, literally through the floor. Because my floor is basically her ceiling. I mean, my room is pretty much above the room of my... Wait a second, I have to think where my room is. Yeah, it's mostly above my brother's room actually. He's probably hearing the most noise, to be fair. Yeah, that is also true. I mean, for one, they isolate sound very nicely because, well, yeah, but also they kind of like actually also amplify sound. If you per se, like, let's say you drop something on the floor, you hear that through the entire same story of the house, literally everywhere. Because it's all connected. But I guess that would be similar in an American house as well. Even though they have paper walls. Their floors are probably made out of concrete as well. At least I hope they're not using paper for that. No, they can't be using paper for that. They would fall through because they're too heavy. I do, however. My room is the only room in the entire house that does have paper walls as well. I mean, that's my paper walls for you. They are, however, even though they're paper walls, they're still more massive than the average American house wall. And you can't punch through that shit. If you punch a hole through that wall, that hurts. I would very much imagine that hurts a lot. Massive. Yes. They are though. They may not, like the outer shell of the wall may not be thicker than an American wall. But it has a cover, like it has a top layer that is from like it's like a thin layer of plastic. And that shit doesn't rip. Like, you would have to push your hand through. You couldn't punch through, you'd literally have to turn into a hydraulic press. Because it wouldn't rip. You know, that's pretty crazy. Also, it kind of comes down to the floor, honestly. On the top floors, we have wooden floors. They probably isolate a bit better than a stone floor. Do I though? Actually, I don't really have a small forehead. That I did notice that already. If for some reason I don't think it's massive, if I look at it, but if I were to measure it, it would probably be enormous. But for some reason, it doesn't look out of place. Maybe my face just looks like shit, so it isn't really noticeable. I don't know. I could probably use my forehead in a 1-to-1 scale as my phone wallpaper, at least, potentially for my laptop as well. He does, he's... I don't know. He's all-knowing. Should I make a second floor into this house, or should I just leave it to be a single floor house? This one doesn't have a center in length again. How the hell am I supposed to light this shit up? I can't place a lantern in the center because there's no center. So do I just place 2 lanterns? Do I place 2 lanterns off center? Do I place one here and one there? Or do I just place a lantern off center? Or do I place a lantern, I don't know, on the floor? What do I do? I'm kind of confused. I don't even have lanterns. I don't even have a torch. Let's try a single offset lantern. I just want to see how bad that looks. I can't even reach that. I'm not tall enough in game. Alright, we have one single offset lantern. That looks like actual garbage. I think we should hang them on chains. Like a lantern and a chain, but have them like be offset a bit, because the light looks kind of dim. I know it's not night yet, but it still looks dim in a way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make another lantern, and then do we have to, I don't know, the chain crafting recipe is something like that. It's like such an overly expensive recipe. So we're gonna do one chain here. I can't actually see shit. There it is. It's way too dark. My room is too bright, actually. Well, it doesn't look all too bad. I can live with that. Maybe we should lower the chains by one more. Kind of comes down to if we add a top floor though. Which we probably should. Yes sir, I am short, definitely. It's actually pretty cozy. I mean, the textures, I mean, does, if you guys rate this, is this more cozy looking, or the other house? I mean, ignoring that this one doesn't have any furniture and shit. This one looks like really crammed, but that's because of the furniture. It's not actually that much smaller. Just a single block. To be honest, why am I always returning to base? I have a bed in my village. Stupid ah. So like, maybe the curtains were a bit too much to add. This one's probably not gonna get curtains. Or maybe it will. Maybe only on one side. Maybe not. Maybe it will become a similar as crammed house as this one, but then I would have to make a wool farm, or at least a cage of sheep. And we also, I think we have to texture the walls more on this, potentially. The bottom walls don't actually need too much, but the roof definitely needs more texturing. Oh, and we can't even add these things that I also keep forgetting how they're called, because it's literally a blocked block. Bruh moment. Alright, anyways. I think that's gonna be it for today. I have to think about how I'm gonna texture this, potentially just similar to how I textured these chocolatey trapdoors still look out of place for some reason. But maybe I'm gonna texture it similar to here, like with trapdoors and stair. Well, there are already stairs, but like holes in the roof and shit, and make it look a bit less uniform, because we can't use color texture, so we have to use shape texture type of thing. Actually, I could set these stairs to all be sideways, and maybe that would actually look pretty good. Let me think, or see actually. Alright, we can't do this because it doesn't allow us. At least not on the bottom. It doesn't allow us to do that on any single one of them. Alright. Giving up on that. And I guess with that, I'm gonna skedaddle for today. We're probably gonna tackle the big house, this one here, there, next time. Probably actually not next time, maybe the time that maybe the stream after the next stream, which would probably be one of the last streams before military actually. Yeah. And I have to set up potentially next week. I will have to set up my my streaming setup, my streaming on my phone. No, I'm not going to do that, then I have to pay money, so but then that would not be good, because then I lose money, and if I go to military I make money. Also, I'd have to kind of like, I don't know, prove that I have asthma. Would that be... I don't know, I think some of them would probably like that I would join them, like, to the military if I were gay. Most of them would probably not care, some of them would probably hate me, but some might like that, which would be very bad for me, though, you know. The thing is, though, I want to set up... Yeah, that's the thing, that's what I was worrying about. But the thing is, I might have to set up mobile streaming so I can stream during the military when I have like free time, as soon as I always can. So like whenever I have I know that I have a longer period of time that I don't have anything to do in, I might just start like a little stream for a few minutes, potentially playing Minecraft on like Pojaf. No, it's not, but I mean, we do get free time when we're there as well. I mean, we have to like rest. So if I don't die, I will stream every week. I hope. I hope I can get that done. And I will always try to stream on the weekends, but the thing is, the only reason why I'm having to set up for like an emergency case my phone, yeah, or driving streams would also go very hard. But the thing is, when I can't go home sometimes on weekends, which is not going to be that much, but it will happen almost inevitably, because they make a list when people have to stay over the weekend. They do tell us, however, in advance, because we have to obviously bring shit for 2 weeks then, and not just for 1 week. So when I have to stay there over the weekend, they tell me to bring shit for the next week as well. Or they have a list that it's on, so I know when I have to stay over the weekend. So when I have to stay for the weekend, I attempt to stream somewhere throughout the week. Because, you know, the other options are paying money, which I could do, but for monetary reasons I would rather earn money than pay money and immediately go to school again. I kind of need a break from school. I don't want to go to school anymore. So that year and 2 months or whatever are gonna be a very nice break of going to school and getting cancer Then then the other option would be, I don't know if you can even choose to do that, would be just like doing other shit that isn't, that like is like I don't know, supervising people at schools, like students in schools, or stuff like that, which a friend of mine did, because he was not able to go into military because he had an allergy, or well, 2 allergies. I think you can only get there if you actually do have some sort of physical limitation or psychological limitations. And then the last option is, if you do not want to go to military but you also do not want to pay money, you do something in between where you, like, I don't know, you go save people from broken down buildings, or cut down forests after trees have almost fallen and shit like that. But that actually takes longer time than regular military, so military is like the best option if you're not like limited in any way, and if you can handle it physically, obviously, which you do, because otherwise you wouldn't get into the military. I was actually relatively surprised that I am not as, you know, bad at sports as I thought. But then after military I'm gonna have like, I don't know, 4 months, 3, 4, 5 months, I don't know, like a few months, like 4 months I think, where I just literally do not have to do anything. Other people would get a job for those 4 months and then immediately go into like a university, and I'm not sure if I want to do that, because I can use all that time very nicely to work on my 3D printers or videos, you know, videos. We like videos. I am gonna be on them now. Well, I don't know if military counts as employment, but I don't have to be employed. If I didn't do military, I wouldn't be either. I would be going to school for like another 4 years or so. So that's that. And I mean, if I were a girl, I'd still get into military. But like, I can't change that anymore. One guy actually dribbled. Oh, that's actually like kind of a gray zone. I don't know if they. No, well, technically on your ID you'd still be either male or female. They go probably by your biological gender. Though one guy actually in Switzerland did change his legal gender to female before he had to enlist for military, so they then didn't call him to, you know, choose a position, like a, you know, and then he didn't have to go, and then he changed back, I think, which is a pretty crazy move, honestly. I would have done the same, but they patched that bug. I think you can now not change. Either you can't change as often anymore, or as quickly, or as much, or I don't know. Well, anyways, I think we're gonna end the stream, otherwise I'm gonna be sitting here talking about military for the next 2 hours. But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can keep the stream streak, which, by the way, I've recently looked at, and I will do a community post before I go into the military, of how many hundreds of streams I have done weekly. I did write a Python script that shows me how many weeks that I have streamed in at least once a week. And that's pretty crazy. Even though the YouTube stats give me the videos, or well, the stream times in like a wrong time zone. They're all like 1 to 2 hours off. But who cares? Anyways, goodbye everyone. And I'll see you all a bit earlier next week because I'm going to Italy again. So we're gonna be streaming at some point throughout the week, probably Thursday. I will drink my water after I've stopped the stream, thank you. So yeah, goodbye guys. And until a bit earlier next week. And skedaddle out. Yeet. Oh shit, I pressed the wrong button. That was the right button. Yes. Hey yo. I'm not your friend. No, just kidding, I'm not gay. Anyway, I did drink my water now. Yeet. Well, the others are, Avelina is, I think, and the rest of my family is, and I'm going to military. Well, and I'm going to Italy though, so that's kind of, you know, that's already booked, so can't really change that.